Hi everyone, I'm Sil, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of my all-time favorite dishes. This is up there in the top 10 or 15 for me. It's a dish that I discovered in Japan when I was living there, and it's called, at least in Japan, it's called kimchi nabe. Now, nabe means hot pot, so you can call it kimchi hot pot in English. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know how authentic this is if you were to go to Korea and eat it. It's Korean inspired, right? In fact, they even call it sometimes kimchi chige. And chige, I believe, is the Korean word for hot pot. So if you're in Japan, you might see this dish called kimchi chige or kimchi nabe. And funny thing, sometimes they call it chige nabe, or at least they used to. And then one day people started to realize that, wait a minute, chige means hot pot and nabe means hot pot. So they're just calling it hot pot, but they're using a Korean word. So anyhow, that aside, this is a Korean inspired dish. I really don't know how authentic it is. If you go to Korea and you order kimchi jjigae, is it going to be the same? Probably not. But that's okay because this is delicious. So maybe you can enjoy both and that's fine. Okay, so one more thing I should talk about before I teach you how to make this, which is in Japan, this is very popular. So you can go to the supermarket and you can buy in a bag or in a bottle the soup base for it, the kimchi base for it. And then you just put the kimchi base in there, add a bit of water, and then all your big ingredients, and it's that easy. But of course, I'm not in Japan at the moment, and I haven't been for a while. So I had to figure out how to make this stuff from scratch. And at first, I looked it up on the internet on a couple of Japanese recipe sites to see, how people might make it from scratch. Like I said, most people just buy one of these soup base, bottles, and it's very easy. From scratch, not quite so easy, or so I thought. Now, when I was looking at these recipe sites, I saw that a few of the ingredients were kind of hard to get. Or if you did find them outside of Japan, they would be very expensive. So for example, mirin, which is, I'm not even sure what mirin is exactly. It's kind of like a low alcohol cooking sake / vinegar. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But anyways, something like that. So anyhow, I didn't want to, go out of my way very far to find mirin and then probably pay 2 or 3 times the price for it just to use it in one recipe and then waste the rest. So I experimented a little bit and I wanted to see if I could figure out how to make this dish, from basic ingredients that you can find pretty much anywhere in the world. And I was able to come up with something that I, at least, enjoy very much. And to be honest, it's the same taste I remember when I was eating it in Japan. So anyway, this may or may not be exactly the same as the one you will find in Japan, but it's pretty darn close if it's not exactly, and it's also very good. And it's very easy to make at home. You will have no trouble finding most of these ingredients, And the great thing is, you don't have to use exactly these ingredients. You can switch them up a little bit, because the most important thing is the soup, the base, right? You can change the other stuff. So let's have a look at the ingredients we're going to use, and you'll see. You'll be surprised at how simple and easy this is. And because it's so simple and because it's so easy, I absolutely highly recommend that you at least try making this yourself at least once, because you will be blown away. You have to be. It's that good. Okay, so let's have a look at the ingredients we're going to use. The first thing we're going to start with is making a soup base to give it a nice, rich, soupy flavor as part of the base. This one, to be honest, I can't read the packaging, but I did see some, meat and bones, so I'm assuming there's some pork and beef or chicken. I'm not really sure, but anyway, this is what I'm going to use for the soup base. And of course, the kimchi is essential, as it is called Kimchi Hotpot. So these two things, and I'm going to use a little bit of soy sauce and also some sesame oil. So this really is what makes up the soup base. Now, once you've got that done, you're going to need some of this, which is pork belly. This is pretty much unsmoked bacon, right? And you want to get it, thinly sliced, because the fat is going to render, it's going to melt into the soup, and it's going to give the soup a really, really nice meaty flavor. So I think, once you've got these, the pork and the soup base and the kimchi and this, to be honest, you don't really need it, but I feel that it gives the soup a bit more depth. But anyway, you can experiment a little bit on your own and see what you like. But once you've got these are really the main basic ingredients. And then the rest you can switch up as you want. Now in Japan, normally, this is what we use. We'll have, here's a little bit more. This is of course what the kimchi is made with. But I bought a bit more just in case I needed extra. I'm not sure that I'm going to use this, to be honest, but I may. And well, whether I use it or not, it's basically the same vegetable. It's called napa cabbage, I think, in Canada. In Japan, they call it hakusai, and I really don't know what they call it in other places. What is very common in Japan are these mushrooms. So here we have some enoki mushrooms, right? These are very, very thin with very small caps. And you buy 1 or 2 packages. I mean, this is like $1, so pretty cheap. This is also about the same price. These are called shimeji mushrooms in Japan. I don't know what these things are called in English, or what you might call them at your supermarket in the US or in Canada or in any other country. These, I'm not sure that they're authentic shiitake mushrooms, but they're very similar. So there's a lot of mushroom in this recipe. Typically you'll use 3 types of mushrooms, and these are types, but you can switch it up. You can use other types of mushrooms, like the king oyster mushrooms or button mushrooms or cremini mushrooms, all kinds of mushrooms. And tofu. So you can put in some tofu. And, for those of you who are scared off by tofu, honestly, it's a pretty flavorless thing. When you put this in there, it really just absorbs the soup base, and it takes on that flavor. You barely taste anything. Don't be scared by tofu if you've never really had it. Try it out. And here we have basically, now these are not your typical, thin, small green onions. These are a bit bigger. In Japan, now this is what I could find here in Vietnam. In Japan, the ones you would normally use are called naga negi or shiro negi, which translated to English would be white onion or long onion. I'm not sure what the actual name for them is, but Anyway, they are even bigger than this. This is a little bit bigger than typical green onion that you would find in Canada. And in Japan, they're even bigger than this. But this is all I could find, so this is what I'm going to go with. Okay, so that's the entire ingredients list. Now I'm going to take everything out of the packages and wash everything and prepare it and cut it. And then we'll throw it together and make this soup, nabe, hot pot thing. Hi. Okay, so I've already gotten started by making the soup broth. I just put some water in here and added a little bit of this until it tasted all right. I can't read the instructions and I don't see any numbers to tell me how much I should have. So I just kind of did it by taste. So let's continue. So we've got the soup base here. I'm going to throw in the kimchi. So here I have 500 grams of kimchi, and I'm just going to throw it all in. Boom, done. There you go. And this is going to give us the majority of the soup base flavor. This and the pork, that's what's really going to give it all the flavor. And then I'll add a little bit of soy sauce and a little bit of sesame oil, just because, well, why not? Why not? So if I taste this now, okay, that's pretty spicy. It's good stuff. Okay, it already tastes, pretty decent, but once we add all the ingredients and boil it all up, then it's going to taste even better. Now, one thing, you might think this is a lot for the amount of liquid, but remember that mushrooms and all vegetables have a lot of water inside them already, so that's going to add to the volume of soup base. So, okay, so there we go, and just let that boil for a bit. Where's my lid? There it is. Okay. Okay, so now that I've boiled down the volume a little bit, here everything has kind of settled in, I'm going to add the pork. And the tricky thing about the pork is when it's sliced thin like this, it tends to stick together, and that's not good. So you want to make sure that you're adding this kind of far from each other. Otherwise they'll stick together, and that's fine. As long as it's cooked, it's not a problem. But when you do it this way, and once they're wet, then they don't stick together. The stuff I bought, it comes kind of rolled up like this, and I like to, take it and spread it out a bit. But you can do whatever you want. Again, as long as it's properly cooked, it doesn't really matter much. Okay, and now I'm just going to put the tofu in there. Okay, so we're just going to let this simmer for a bit. Make sure that the pork cooks and that the fat kind of gets throughout the soup. And basically, we're pretty much done, but I'm gonna taste it and then I'm gonna add a little bit of this stuff. So it's been simmering now for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. So as you can see, all the pork is cooked now. You just mix it up a little bit and get the pork mixed in. Now let's taste it and see if this is already pretty good. I have not added these yet, but I still expect it to taste pretty decent. It'll be easier if I use this. Okay. So it's already pretty good, and it's quite spicy. Now, if you don't like spicy, you might want to add a little bit more water, and that will of course dilute it a little bit more. But that's up to you. I like it spicy. It's supposed to be a little bit spicy. Now, I will add just a few drops of sesame oil. You don't want to overpower it, but I do like a little bit of this. And I'm gonna add some soy sauce. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay, well, as far as I'm concerned, this is ready to eat. I can't say without trying side by side if it's exactly the same taste that I had when I was in Japan, but it's how I remember it anyway, or at least it's close enough. So yeah, for me, this is very, very good, and I'm about to have dinner. Now, it goes really well with rice. At least that's how I used to eat it, and that's how I continue to eat it. I like especially Japanese rice. I got very used to the Japanese rice when I was there, and to me, that is the best rice for as an accompaniment for many dishes, because it's hard to describe. It does have a flavor, but it also has a certain blandness that matches very well to balance out strong flavors. But, you know, if Japanese rice is too bland for you, feel free to try jasmine or basmati or something different. Maybe if you don't like rice, you can try bread, whatever. Do what you want. But definitely, I recommend try making this. It's simple, it's easy, it's healthy. It's pretty much all vegetables, a little bit of tofu, and meat if you want it. You don't have to put the meat in, but I feel that it adds a lot of flavor, and I am a meat eater, so. But there's no reason vegetarians can't make their own version of this. Yeah, so that's it. That's my video. Let me know if you try it in the comments. If you have any questions, you know, as you noticed, I didn't measure anything. I don't really think it needs to be measured. Just start with the soup base, right? Like a broth, you know, and taste that broth. If it's a nice, strong, soupy broth, then just add the kimchi. Add as much as you want, right? If you add a lot, it'll probably be spicier. If you put in a little bit less, it'll be less spicy. And also, this stuff, not necessary, but I do like the extra complexity of flavors that's added with it. You can change things up, make things the way you want them, and that's the beauty of this dish. It's easy, it's healthy, and it's customizable. So, good luck making it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please help me grow my channel by sharing it with your friends on Facebook or other social media. Thanks, bye.